You're hearing about it everywhere. Just what you wanted. Okay, so our Zoom session should be going. Looking at Canvas, I'm going to go into our modules. And again, you can just look at that calendar if you like. But we're in week 4 now, which is our unit exam. So we'll have our exam, if you look at the dates there, it should be correct. We'll have our exam on Thursday, the written exam, and that's mostly multiple choice. And the practice exam is the same question bank. So if you use your textbook, you know, the end of chapter review information is really helpful. And the practice exam, we should be able to prepare for that pretty easily. The hands-on exam is our Raptor flowchart. We haven't done Raptor yet, so today's going to be a busy day to learn how to do that. The flowchart is pretty simple. You'll see when you look at it. I'm not going to bring it up because the one we do today might be real similar. You'll see. But that's what's going on Thursday, so be prepared. You should have lots of good material to get ready for that exam. We really just have chapter 1 and 3 in our book because chapter 2 was the data conversion things. So you might run into a binary conversion question or two, but it shouldn't be much out of chapter 2. So those would be the things you want to review. So what we were going to spend today on are these week 3 labs. So we have Programming Challenge 2, which in your textbook, let's find it. If you look at, I know I have this fancy teacher version that's a little bit different than anybody else's, but if I go to chapter 3, at the very end are the chapter review and exercises. And at the very end of the chapter review and exercises are the programming challenges. So for these activities, we were looking at challenge 2. And this one you guys were working on the pseudocode for last time. So this was the one we have a supermarket, and we're going to be computing the unit price for products that are sold there. So our input is going to be the name and price of an item per pound and its weight in pounds and ounces. There's a given calculation that's going to be used to come up with the variables that are required for output using those formulas. So you guys were working on pseudocode for that, and we're going to make a Raptor flowchart for it. The other one is number 4. And it says, Shannon and Jasmine bowl as a team. Each of them bowls 3 games in a tournament. They'd like to know their individual averages for their 3 games and the team average. Allow the user to input scores for each player. Output Shannon's average, Jasmine's average, and the team's average. So it gives you the variables that you'll need and the formulas that you need. So again, we'll need pseudocode and a Raptor flowchart for that one. So sounds like a lot, but you guys won't have any trouble getting it done. Now, when you go to submit the assignment, I'm in as a test student, so it's going to let me do some of this and some of it won't. But on Canvas, when I go to submit this assignment, on the File Upload tab, I can choose File and get my pseudocode, and then I can add another file and get my Raptor flowchart. And so that's how we want to submit that assignment, is both of those files attached on one submission so that I can see them both, and then that way I'll be able to get everything graded. So sometimes it can be hard to find things and make sure that we're all in the same place so nothing gets missed. Now, let's do it. So, well, we've got to create these Raptor flowcharts. Last time, we created our pseudocode for the sale price program as a modular program. Now, I can paste this in the Zoom session chat, but it won't do any good unless you're connected to the Zoom session. So if you need this pseudocode, you should make sure you're connected to the Zoom session. If someone around you doesn't know how to connect, remind them how. How would you do that? Are you guys using your Zoom session? Remember, we set up a shortcut on your desktop for it, so you should be able to connect that way. If you don't have the shortcut, you can go to the instructor info on our homepage in Canvas and scroll down to the bottom and find that URL. because that's why we want to be on the Zoom session, so I can easily send you things like this. So I have this pseudocode file. I'm going to try to shoot it out in the chat if I can. Let's see if will it let me drag it. Oh, I always love it when no, darn. Okay, I'll have to go find it. So we created this one the other day, and we said this is our sale price program with subprograms or modules. So it's a nice modular program. Our pseudocode says that our program is going to start out with a main module. We're going to declare our variables. Our item name is a string, and then our original price, discount rate, sale price, and total price, all this numeric data can have decimal places or floats. We're going to write out some messages to let our user know what's going on, welcome them to our program. Then we're going to use our subprograms, our modules. First, we're going to call our input module. Control is going to branch to our input module, and we're going to write out this message, what is the item name, to prompt the user for the item name. They're going to type it in. We're going to read it in to our item name variable. We're going to write out the message, what is its price and the percentage discounted. In this case, we're actually asking for two variables, the price and the percent discount. We have to read them in separately. Now, depending on the programming language we're using and stuff, we might not be able to do this. We might have to do things one at a time. So in our pseudocode, we're assuming that we can get away with it. That's the end of our input module. So control will return back to our main module. In our main module, the next thing we'll do is call our calculations module. In that module, we have a work field that we're declaring, and then we're setting all of our different variables to the values specified by using the calculations that we were given. That's the end of our calculations module. So control returns back to our main module. And in our main module, then we call our output. And in our output, we write out a nice label, the item is, and the item name. And then we write out the message, the pre-sale price was, oops, missing a plus sign there, and the original price. Then we write out the percentage discounted was, our discount rate, and a percent sign, our sale price. Now, notice as we're writing these things out, and it'll help a lot with Raptor today because we'll be able to see it. First, we have a string that's enclosed within double quotes, right? Then we have a plus sign and a variable. So that's what's happening here with all of these different plus signs and double quotes. We're saying this string and this variable value and this string that's within those double quotes and this variable value. So if you break it down when you're looking at it, it'll make more sense than just looking at it as a big old what? Okay, so then finally, our total. Well, we're going to come back to this pseudocode and we're going to write this as a Raptor flowchart and execute it. But we've got to get a little used to Raptor first. So let's try it. Raptor is a little flowcharting utility. If you go to find it on Google, it'll be hard to find because it's not like a really heavily used program. I can search for it, Raptor or flowcharting. And as long as I put in the word flowchart, I'll find it and I can go to the website and download it. Now, if you download this little Raptor program, Windows 10 might warn you that it's not a known program. Are you sure you want to run it? And everybody's verified it for us. It's okay. You can say, yes, you want to run it. But it's not famous enough to be known by Windows. So let's check it out. It's pretty easy to use. So I'm looking for Raptor. We'll go from Raptor to Python and use all of our weird tools. Okay, let's see if it's going to work. Hmm. Is it doing that to you too? I would assume. Well, let's just go a different way. Hopefully. Okay, bring up File Explorer. And if we do it this way, then everybody will know how to find Raptor if they're on a computer in another lab somewhere. So I have the portable install saved on the S drive. If you go to the S drive and look in the CIS folder at our CIS120, and then you go into course data. So it's not in our section. You should see a folder that says Raptor Portable. Now, if you go into that folder, you can run this raptorportable.exe. We can also copy this folder if you'd like to your H drive, the Raptor Portable folder. So I'm going to do that. It's pretty small. I'm going to copy it, and I'm just going to paste it into my H drive. You can see it's pretty small. It's not a very big program. And then I'm going to make sure I can run it that way on my H drive. It should be okay. That looks good. Okay, has everybody found it? Sorry about that. I'll post a link to that place on the S drive where it's saved so that you can get to it. You need to copy that whole folder. It's your set. Let's have it. Can you find it again if you need to? We need the whole folder. Yeah, the Raptor Portable folder. We'll have all the stuff that's needed. Just look at. Somebody must have screwed up on the S drive. Come on, guys. Who cut it from the S drive? Don't do stuff like that. Be very careful when you're working in a shared folder. Let's see. I'll put it back out there. It's all still there. I don't know. I'll try again. If you go back to your S drive to copy it. It's all still there. It looks good. Right up. sure you can find it. I'm not sure why the install is bad on the computers. It's a pretty small program. So have you been messing with it? Did you try anything? You should see it's pretty easy to use. It starts out with just these different windows. And in our main window is our sheet of paper, just kind of like Visio, where we have our beginning and ending terminators already for us. This is our main module, you see in the tab up there. So Raptor already has it labeled for us as our main module. Over here in this area are the different symbols we can use to add to our flowchart. Right here, this little window is going to give us some feedback as we execute our flowchart to tell us what our variables are set to and things like that. And this little window is going to be our console. So we'll see messages that we print out and things like that in that little console window. So let's try to print a message. If I look at the symbols here, I want to use output to print a message. So I'm just going to drag that symbol onto my flowchart and drop it between that start and end symbol. It says, please save now. I'm going to click OK and go save my flowchart. Now I'm going to save it to my normal place. And I'm just going to call this first Raptor flowchart. Now when you save your flowchart, it's going to name it a .rap. That's the file type that it's going to give it. So whenever you upload to Canvas your Raptor flowchart, you should see a .rap file. If you don't, if you see a backup file, that's a backup of your flowchart, and that's not going to be something that I'm going to be able to successfully open to see your flowchart. So make sure you've got the Raptor file and not a backup. Now I just want to do an output message. Let's say hello world in our program. So I'm going to double click on this output symbol in my flowchart. When the little enter output dialog box pops up, I can type whatever I want as output in this text area. I'm going to use that text area just the same as I would in my pseudocode. So I'm going to put a string within double quotes. So I'll put a message, hello world. Now you can see why I started the Zoom session, because the font is really, really small and it won't zoom in or out for me. There's nothing I can do. So your Zoom session, if you have that going beside you, will definitely help when we're looking at Raptor. Now, when I output this message, hello world, I'm going to leave this checkbox checked that says end the current line. So that's going to show up on a line all by itself. So I'm going to click done. Now I have a symbol in my flowchart, so I'm going to run it. When I use the play button to run my flowchart, it's going to, by default, start at the start symbol and end at the end symbol. So I'll run it. You can see the green as it's selecting each symbol. Now this slider bar controls the speed. So I'm going to slow it way down so you can see that a little better. I'll run it again. We see it start and then move to our output message and then end. So not too exciting, but over here we see our output message. Yay, everything's good. Worked for everybody? Got it? It's going? Okay. Okay, so that's pretty simple for the first one. What if we want to ask somebody their name? Let's change this from saying hello world. Let's change it to say, welcome to our program. You could say, welcome to my world, huh? Welcome to our program. And I would like to ask what their name is. So whenever I'm using Raptor, if I want to ask somebody for input, I use the input symbol. So I'm going to drag that onto my flowchart right under my welcome message. Now notice the input and the output both use that parallelogram symbol. But when we're looking at Raptor, you can tell which one you've got by this arrow. So if we're going to write a message out, we'll have this arrow coming out of the parallelogram. If we're prompting for input, we'll have this arrow going into the parallelogram. So the symbols look just the same, except for the arrows. So watch for that because they can get confusing sometimes. Now on our input symbol, let's double click to open it. And we would like to put a prompt on this. So let's make our prompt be something like, what is your name? Should we be nicer? Maybe, please tell me your name. I'll be nicer. It's early. You don't have to be friendly, Anne. And then down at the bottom, it says, what variable do you want to use to store what the user types? What do you want to name this? Name, username? How about username? So now I've used a variable and I've asked the user for input. Let's output what the name they give us. So I'll use that output symbol. And in my output, I want to say, thank you, comma, and then I'll output their name. Now, some things about Raptor. When I output, again, I'm going to use that same format I use in Pseudocode. I'm going to have the string, if I need it, within double quotes, the plus sign to indicate I want to add more, I want to concatenate, and then a variable name if that's what I want. So this should output thank you, comma, space, and the name that they gave us. Down here, Raptor is showing me, you know, I found this variable and it's trying to be helpful and it'll list things that match for us. So it'll get more helpful as we go. So that looks good. I'll go ahead and click done and then we should be able to run it. So I'm going to run my flowchart. I've got my output popped out, welcome to our program. And then over here, I see this little text box with the prompt. Please tell me your name. So I'll put in my name. And if you notice in this watch window, Raptor showed me my variable username and what its value is, that it's Renee. And in the output console window, I see that message that we output. Thank you, Renee. So that works good. Everybody get it to work? Let's do the sale price program then, if that feels good. Raptor's pretty easy to use. It's super friendly. And any sort of things that you want to know how they work, you can just try it and see what happens. So you're not going to break anything. I'm going to save this flow chart. And I want to create a new one. So I'll just do a new piece of paper, same icon as Word. Now in our sale price program, we had different modules. So we'll see how to do that in Raptor and create some other things that we need. In our sale price program, we declared some variables. With Raptor, we saw with that username variable, we didn't have to declare it beforehand. We were just able to use it. But in order to make things consistent, we're going to use the assignment symbol to declare our variables. So let's use the assignment symbol, drag it out onto your flowchart. Let me increase my size here. I can at least increase that part. Now in this assignment symbol or process, I want to double click on it to be able to say what's going to happen here. Whenever we declare a variable in Raptor, we're only going to be able to do one at a time. So we're going to put our variable name where it says set, so item name. And because I'm declaring this variable, I'm just going to set it to a space character. So double quote, space, double quote. That's going to tell everybody in the world that this is a string and Raptor, so it should know. So there's my item name. When I click done, I'll see that in my flowchart. Now I'm going to need a few more of those. For all of my variable ones, I'm going to set the value to 0. So I'll do my original price. And because this is a decimal containing variable, kind of a number, money, I'll set it to 0.00. when I click done, Raptor will retain that. So that would kind of help other people looking at it when the massive hordes are wanting to use your Raptor flowchart. Okay, so we've got that original price set to 00. Could I copy that symbol instead of creating one from scratch? I should be able to. I'll copy it and then click on the line right below it and paste it. And I'll double click to change that variable name, make it be discount rate. And then since we had so many that were money, we could just keep pasting. I'd have my sale price. And finally, our total price. So if you look, your main module right now should have the item name variable set to a string, an empty string. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 numeric variables that are all set to 0. It acts like, there we go, finally grabbed a hold of it. So my flowchart is getting a little bit bigger with just all of these variable declarations. Now in our main module, we also output a welcome message. So I'm going to do a write. Oh, it's going to make me save. You may have already had to save. Now I want to save this flowchart as Chapter 3, Sale Price Raptor. And then as I look at my folder in my file system, I should see all of these Chapter 3 sale price things together and be able to find my Raptor flowchart and my pseudocode and my Visio flowchart, because we did that for it too, all there in the file system together. Okay, so let's write out a nice message. First, we want to have the message say, sale price program. I'm going to click done. And then I want another output message. So after we have that main heading that says sale price program, we're going to output this long message. This program computes the total price. And if you have the pseudocode open, you could copy and paste from there. This program computes the total price, comma, including tax, comma, of an item that has been discounted a certain percentage. Now remember, we want to do programming here, not typing. So if typing is not your forte, make that message short, because we want to get the flowchart done, not be the typing champion. So that's fine. I have a lot of typing practice, but I still couldn't win any contests because I make a lot of mistakes. All right, I'm done with that huge long message. We can test this thing now. Let's try it. Let's make sure we haven't run into any sort of problems yet. Now, as we start, you should see all of your variables show up over here in this watch window as they get declared. And then in our output master console window, you should see our output sale price program and that big long message. Everything working okay? Got it, got it, got it. No problems, because we want to make sure, because we want to be able to use this one as an example. All right, looks great. Now, when this program continues on, after displaying these messages, we want to call our input module. If you look at the symbols that are available to us in Raptor, you'll see the one that says call. So let's drag that call onto our flowchart. Now, we said we were going to call that input module. When I click done, Raptor's going to ask me, you're creating a module. Would you like to create a new tab up here for this module? And yeah, we would, because that's going to keep everything all nice and organized on our flow chart. You know how our program was getting kind of messy until we split it up into those subprograms. This will help keep our flow chart all organized. So I'm going to say yes. Now when I do that, Raptor creates a new tab for me for this module, our input module, with a new start and an end. Okay. So it looks good in our input module. We wanted to prompt for our item name. So let's use the input symbol. And we want to say, what is the item name? And then when they type in an item name, we want to save that in our item name variable. Now we should be able to run. I'm going to go back to my main and click the play button. We should see it start out declaring our variables. Then it's outputting those messages. Came to our input module. And in our input module, it says, what is the item name? And I'm sitting here now waiting to input that. Whenever I type it in and click OK, this watch area over here, my item name value for that variable should change, should show whatever I type in. So that's the nice thing about Raptor is I can just see what I'm doing as I go. So we'll say my name is something like that. Now my input module got done. So I just jumped right back to my main module and everything's good. How's everybody's working? How you doing? Got it, got it, got it. And the rest of this row over here, you okay? Okay, okay. Good. All right. Now we want to prompt for a couple of more things in our input module. So I'm going to go back to that tab and I'm going to use the input statement again. And this time we're going to ask for the item's price. Now, I could say, what is space, and then add my item name variable, and then add the word price. Right? And now I could ask for that item name that they just gave us and say, what is item name price? It's not going to be proper English because it's going to be singular. I could say something better. What is the price for, help me, it's early in the morning. I can't think of a good way to put it. Okay, that looks good. So I want to say something like this. What is the price for plus item name plus question mark, so that I have a nice prompt. And then the variable that I want that data saved in is my original price variable. Now you can see Raptor is suggesting that variable down here in red. So I can click on it or press enter or something. I don't know. I can't ever get it to work. You guys will figure it out. Just select it somehow. And then tab, it never works for me. I'll just put it right into that variable original price. Now our third input in our input module. So notice we're just doing the same thing over and over for each piece of data that we need in our input here is going to say, what is the percentage discounted? Is it stuck?
It says unexpected ID.
You see it?
No, not really.
Okay. I want to ask for our discount rate last. Okay, so I'm going to click OK on this one. Now, is it prompting us for all our data? We can run a test here. Let's test it. This great thing about Raptor, it lets us try it, prompt for our item name, or set up our variables, then output our messages, then prompt for our item name, juice. What is the price for juice? 2. Now, that's an important point. In Raptor right now, don't use decimal places necessarily for your price. Just use whole numbers. We're not using any fancy things with decimal places yet. We don't want to test Raptor too hard. So I'll just put in 2. And what is the discount? 20, whatever. So we're not using our data yet, but we can validate that we're getting our variables set properly over here in our watch window. Now, what if they're not? What if your discount rate doesn't have that number that you typed in? Well, then we have to do some troubleshooting. Look at your input module and make sure that here where it says get discount rate, that discount rate is spelt the same as it was when we declared it. Or you might see it twice. If you see it twice, then you know that it got declared and updated with a little bit different of a name. And that's why it's showing up twice, because it's 2 different variables if the names aren't the same. But notice Raptor doesn't care at all about the uppercase and lowercase. So case doesn't care about that at all. As long as they're spelt exactly the same, it'll find your variable. All right, so we've got our input module done. We've got everything perfect here on this input module. We're asking for all of the things we need. So let's go back to our main. The next module that we had was our calculations module, and then our output. So let's find our call symbol again, and I'm going to drag that onto my flow chart, and I'm going to make this one be calc module, just to be short. Calculations is a little bit long. And I'll say, yes, I want to create a tab for it. Now, when I abbreviate and things like that, that's because I know my management, and I know that sometimes we need to type a little bit quicker. But if you're in a company where things are really specific, you might have to name things exactly the way they want you to. So you'll know those kinds of things when you work for a place. You'll be able to tell pretty quick. Okay, in our calculations module, first we need a new variable. So I'm going to use the assignment statement, and our variable is going to be amount saved. And we wanted to start with it set to 0. Now we're going to assign a new value to amount saved. So I want a new assignment box. This time, we want amount saved to be set to a calculated value. Our original price times our discount rate divided by 100. Now I'm putting in that formula just like we had it in our pseudocode, and just like we would do it, you know, in an algebra problem. Sometimes you use the star, sometimes you might have the X, I don't know. But other than that, it's just the same type of syntax here in Raptor. Notice that I don't have an equal sign anywhere because Raptor's taking care of that. Whatever this variable is, we can kind of pretend it has an equal sign beside it, and it's being set equal to this value. So when you're typing this in, some things to be careful of. The parentheses, sometimes I want to make sure I have a space before and after those. Raptor could get confused if they're all squished up together. I also want a space before and after my math symbols, just to make sure that it's very clear, and also to make sure that my formula is really readable, right? Because if everything is all squished together, it can be a little bit hard to read. Now I'm going to click done. There's my first calculation in my Raptor flow chart. I can test this thing if I want and make sure that's working right. Let's run it. Now, as you'll see, this is why they give you the speed setting in Raptor, because sometimes the slow speed gets a little slow. So what's my item name? Banana. What is the price for banana? 3. The discount percent, 10. Now, as I go through my calculations method, I should see some of those variables changed. Sure enough, there's my amount saved value, which is set to 30 cents, which is right based on my discount rate for my price. So that looks good. So I'm going to go back to my calc module and add more. Let me know if you're having trouble so we can nip it in the bud, right, before it gets a hold of you. Now I just need 3 more calculations. So I'm going to grab an assignment box. This one is going to be setting the sale price. And our sale price is equal to our original price minus our amount saved. Our tax was equal to our sale price times 0.065. And our last calculation is our total price. And it's equal to our sale price plus our tax. And that's the end of our calculations module. So if we were to run it right now, the testing we would be doing would be to check to make sure everything looks right over here in our watch window. Are we getting the right results that we expect for all of these calculations? Let's run it and see, because we want to make sure that we have everything so far correct. My item name, I'll do apples. Therefore, I'll give a 10% discount, and I'll let it run through my different calculation statements. And I should see that my apples had an amount saved of 40 cents, which is right. Notice I keep using 10% because it's a nice, easy one for me to make sure that I'm coming out with the right answer. My sale price is $3.60 then. My tax came out to $23.40. So my total price is $3.8340. Now we need to truncate that down to 2 decimal places, but we're not going to worry about that at this point. So we'll learn a little bit more about how to do that in Raptor later. So everybody's numbers look good. Okay? No. All right, let's fix them. So we can, let me put the calc module up on the screen so you can see it. Quick.
Oh, no,
Sorry, you're looking at that screen. No, that's all right.
He's watching. Yeah,
We just copied yours.
I can put so much.
Yeah, you can.
I was
You
trying
could
to.
actually copy that folder if you we just were having trouble with the install, so it's just easier to copy it to that S drive. So I will post that for you guys. Actually, I'll try to zip the whole thing, but you can sure download it at home. So we need our output module, right? So let's go back to our main, and we want a new call. At the very bottom, we're going to put our output module. Now, as you're going, you should be seeing how the order of things matters. So I couldn't do my output module first and my input module last, or else I would output nothing, right? I wouldn't have good values yet. So I have to do things in the right order. Now, for our output module, we have quite a few output messages. So let's try the output symbol. And the first one is going to be the one that says what the item name is. So the item is colon space and then close my string. Then I want to add my item name variable. Now I want to output some more. This one, we're going to output pre-sale price was, and then add the original price. Next, we want our percentage discount. So our message is going to say percentage discounted was, and then I'm going to add the discount rate. Now this one, we're going to add another string after that variable value. We want to add that percent sign. So like I said, don't worry too much about getting a complete message, but do make sure that you don't have like typos or spelling errors. So we don't have to have long messages, but they have to be accurate. Our next thing that we want to output is our sale price. Now we're going to have a string that says the words sale price plus our sale price variable plus the words in a string, sales tax, plus our tax variable. So in this output, we're going to be doing 2 strings and 2 variables. And last is our total. And we wanted this one to say total and then a $sign, and then we added our total price. We're done. Now, all of these weird \p things that you see are just end of line characters, making it go to a new line, kind of like a paragraph code control in Word if you're looking at your formatting codes. So don't worry about those, but those do have meaning, that it means that it'll go to a new line before it does the next symbol. So that's what all those hieroglyphic things are that we're seeing. We should be done. Let's test it. So let's see, what is our item name? Banana. I'll say bananas are really expensive. They're 40, 10%. Oops, I typed in a bad number, so it's going to get mad at me. Can't mix number and strings. I typed in a hyphen. That's okay. Now you know what'll happen. Didn't break it. Just have to run it again. Banana, 40, 10% discounted. So my output should all be showing up over here in the master console. You should see all of the different messages: sale price, program, what your program does, the item is, the pre-sale price, and all of this great information here for everything.
I didn't catch how to change the speed of the run.
Right up there.
The slider.
Yeah, that slider. And so you can make it go slower or faster. Now for our let me look at our schedule here. Silly thing is mad at me. Stop. As we're looking here at Raptor, I just feel like you guys need a little bit more time because you're doing a great job, but I just don't want you to rush. I want you to explore using Raptor and kind of get used to it. So what I'm wondering, would you guys be okay if we put off our exam until next Tuesday so that you would have some time to get these done? Because I would really rather you have time. Okay, yes, sir?
Is the exam going to be like questions, or is it going to be like a project that we're going to be doing?
You have a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, but the exam in class will be like questions, but there is a Raptor flowchart, a small one that you have to upload at the end. So I'd really like you guys to have more experience. And since we're looking at only having an hour left today, I think that's a good amount for you to work on that. The first program, the cost of the whatever, the weights and measures. But for the second one, for the bowling scores, I really feel like you guys need more time next time, and I don't want to rush everybody with that exam. So I'm going to change that date until Tuesday. So then on Thursday, we can work some more with our labs and do a little bit more reviewing for our exam. Not that I don't think you guys could handle it. I think you could handle it and you probably all get a really good grade. But I would rather you have time to really explore this stuff. To me, when we're working here with this beginning things, and some of you guys may have a lot of experience, but when you're beginning programming, this kind of stuff that just gives you this feedback right away, like Raptor does, it's really important way for you to get some good experience.
So would you change our due dates on these programming challenges until next Tuesday?
Yeah. And so we'll fix everything up so that you guys don't have to worry. I hate changing dates because I'll mess something up in Canvas. So let me know if you see something that isn't right and I'll fix it because it does get icky. That's why I try to not do it. But I think we need to. I think it's going to be our best way of doing it. You guys did a great job with the subs. She did a great job. We need another day before we do this exam, and that'll be fine. Okay, do you remember who you were working with last time? Can you find that person and continue on? And then if you weren't here last time, we will find you a person. Let's see, Jasper's gone again today, and we have Boone and so really you two are our, let's see, Nick and Boone back in the back. Boone, this is Nick Hugh is also gone. You guys will just knock this out in no time. I think those are our main people. Everybody else has a person here that they worked with last time, right?
Is this required to be done as a group?
Yes.